Right, Railroad Preserver 2000 here, back again doing another live stream. And like the previous 4 that I've done regarding Stoneworks recently, I've been trying to work on the MS Frantic. I've been doing a lot of progress on it to the point where it reached another block limit even when it was cut up into sections. So that's fun. Hold on one minute. Just a simple little message, nothing unusual at all. I'm live. Alright. Oh, I see Smack's premiere came a bit late. Dang calendar. I ended up accidentally tearing a part of the calendar where you can put like a nail or something through it to hang it up, and that one page keeps falling. Alright, so as you can see, currently, I've made a ton of progress since the last stream. I've added a compass tower on top of the bridge as well as 8 flares. The cargo hold doors are in place and operational. I've added a forecastle with staircases to get up to the top of it. There's doorways leading in. You can see I've got anchors and lights in place and a hatchway going down. This now goes into the forward mail room. It's unfinished at the moment. Red started work on it, but we ran out of... Red and I started to work on it, but we ran out of time. Going through this door will lead into the back part of the mailroom. Sorry, I'm tired. But yeah, this mailroom here, the forward one is meant for larger mail, like large packages and such. This will be for more, I guess you could say, regular mail, which would be basically anything from small letters to about maybe small packages. You could probably be about like this, about this size to some extent. Mr. Minecraft, Kevin Joyner, hey, 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 what is up? Down here will be a mail hold for the normal mail, general purpose mail basically, and I'm thinking the shelves could probably go this way, kind of like on the Atlanta. But I'm probably going to build like some kind of, I don't know. I don't know if I want to build a false wall and hide the whole curvature, or if I want to keep that and let it, be. I really don't know. I'm debating on that. But, yes, through here you can see where I've actually also put in the hallway, or I should say catwalks for the cargo holds. So basically when you come through the mailroom, the back mailroom, you'll see when I hit this, yes, with these doors, these new doors, I'm using paintable indicators. So for those who review the ship, yes, I've heard of trains. I've seen videos of the people crashing trains on trains like back in 2008. But yeah, for the new anybody reviewing this ship later on, when you see these doors and see an indicator beside it, please read it. I have them labeled for a reason. Cargo hold number 1 is what this indicates, which is this first cargo hold. Through this door is hold number 2, and that's indicated through this paintable indicator right here. Through here, as you can see, you've got a completed bout hallway for D-deck. Now, as you can see, I've already put areas for crew cabins in. There's going to be at least 2. One here, and then it's basically mirrored on the other side. The 2 interior ones, these 2 do not have windows. The ones on the outside will. But down here, bow thrusters. There'll be gauges here too if need be, and maybe some parts shelving as well. Maybe for like, I don't know, stuff like piping, motors and such. And I think I might do that real quick. I might just make a standardized gauge board. And I'm going to do a mirror here. There we go. Now these will probably just be hooked up straight to the generator. So to the bow thrusters. They're meant to be, they're automatically activated. So there's really, I don't really know if there's much I could do in the way of a gauge board for these things. But you never know. I might be able to get some, me and AC might be able to get something in. I'm thinking a simple gauge board, kind of like this, would probably suffice enough. At least I would hope. Probably something along like that line, maybe. I see Sal is online. Maybe he could help out. That'd be nice. I could probably do maybe RPM, temperature, I don't know. I really don't know, but maybe battery level, considering these are electric. That could probably work. Let me get some dials. See dials. There we go. Need to see where I'm placing these. So you've got that, and that. RPM. Meaning like if you're low on power. And I'm trying to think. No. Power level, that's basically the same as battery or something. I'm trying to think. See, RPM, power, level, lever, that's not what I was saying, level. Microwave, AT, nice. Train traveler, what do you mean trains of the Midland? You talk about Gainesville Midland? If so, well, I've got Well, if you're referring to the Gainesville, I don't know which Midland Railroad you're talking about. The only one I know of is the Gainesville Midland, and that's because I've gotten pretty acquainted with its steam locomotives, the three that are nearby me, which is, I think I've seen pretty much Gainesville Midland's probably its entire roster. As far as I don't know, I don't think any of their locomotives ended up scrapped. I think most, if not all, of their decapods ended up in preservation. I know Gainesville Midland 116 is on display in Jefferson, 208 in Winder. I know 116 is on display in Jefferson, 208 is up in Winder, 209 is in Gainesville, and I think engines either, and I think 203 or 301 is up in, I think, Alabama, and I think 203 is at Duluth, and I think another one of their decapods, which I think originally number 201 is repainted as Seaboard Airline colors and is on display in either Spencer or Savannah. I could be wrong. I forget whether or not there was a roster sheet. But I'd imagine most of their engines were saved to some degree or another. Heck, I didn't know it, but there's actually, if you look up Gainesville Midland Railroad audio recording, there's a 2-part audio recording of the last run. And, of course, Robert M. Sewell's son uploaded some footage he shot of the Midland back in '56, 4 years before dieselization. And what's interesting is one of the shots in that film shows a cluster of grain silos that are in Athens alongside the right-of-way for Gainesville Midland. Those silos are still there. They're no longer in use, but they're still standing. Same with part of the refinery that was nearby them. That place has only grown bigger since the 50s. Oh. Well, Train Traveler, how many locomotives did the Gainesville Midland have? Well, still, considering the Gainesville Midland ended up saving 5 to 6 of their locomotives, that's pretty rare for a railroad to do as far as a short line goes. I mean, freaking Crab Orchard and Egyptian, they had 2 steam locomotives because they started out as a tourist railroad. Now, after they dieselized in the 80s, both ended up in preservation. Only their first steam locomotive was kept up enough to where it was operable. 17 ended up suffering a dry pipe failure which led to its retirement. And as a result, it's been up in Boone, Iowa, and been left to get in a pretty rough state. Well, I don't know. It would be, if there was a case like that, then it would probably end up being similar to, say, like the Iowa class battleships. I think that's the only ship class that I could think of where all of the members ended up making it into preservation. All 4 Iowas are still in existence. Not one was scrapped. None of them were scrapped, and none of them were sunk. I mean, to be fair, though, I know 116 still exists. I know engines 208, 9, and 6 still exist. I think they say 301 since it was one of the engines that pulled the last steam-powered train, and I'd imagine they would have saved 201 as well. I know 116 is saved. So hang on, wait a minute, Train Traveler. I know 116 is a 280, but what's the other consolidation? Oh yeah, well, so that would mean engines 201, 202, 204, 205, 207. All of them never made it to preservation. But it's nice that most of the engines were saved. I mean, the fact that there's 6 locomotives. That's rare for a short line to do. So technically, back then, that was rather generous for them. And plus, it depends. Were those 5 like the last ones that they had that were working? It makes you question. Were those 5 the last ones they were able to keep running? Because, usually when railroads donate equipment for preservation, it's usually the equipment that's in the best mechanical shape. So I'd imagine what it is even though, say, like, I'd imagine 201, 202, 204, 205, 7, 10, and all them, they may not have been in good enough shape mechanically for them to move them, or they just were not in good enough shape mechanically to where they would look good for display. So I'd imagine they were the ones that were scrapped. So, in other words, I'd imagine those were the reasons why those were scrapped. Either that or they thought, oh, since we've saved like 3 to 4 of our decapods, there's no need in saving any of the others, unless, which would probably make sense. But, I mean, the fact that essentially 2 sister engines ended up making it, I mean, considering 208 and 209 both made it, and since they're like one engine after the other, that's pretty remarkable. And what's funny is technically, if anybody wanted to restore one of the decapods, the best candidate for that type of restoration would probably be 209. I've seen it. The city of Gainesville has kept it up for a long time. I mean, let me tell you. I mean, basically, I'm repeating myself because I don't know if the audio is getting cut out or not. But basically, I mean, if any of the Gainesville Midland locomotives were ever able to be brought back into service for like excursion use, I personally feel that 209 would be the best candidate for restoration because the city of Gainesville has pretty much kept that thing immaculate ever since it arrived there for display. They keep it, I mean, cosmetically, they've kept it in good condition. I'd imagine as far as physically, they've kept it in good condition. I mean, the last time I saw it, it looked like it was in good condition. They removed the boiler jacketing, so that means technically, or at least I think they removed the boiler jacketing. I could be wrong, but if they did, that would mean there's no way for water to actually corrode the main boiler. I don't know if they've capped the stack or not, but if they did, that would also help. I'd imagine have made sure that you can't get up on the engine so nobody would end up taking any parts like valves and such. But, I mean, it's interesting. But something else of note, 209's tender may have been swapped when it was donated, because if you look at 208's tender and then look at the engines in the footage back when they were running, you'll see the tenders they had sides, though, on the very top of the tender that sloped inwards, like an inward sloping arch. They went in like this, like that, and they had a doghouse on the back for the brakeman. 208 still has that type of tender, and I think 116 has it as well. So the question is, did they get a tender from one of their scrapped locomotives, and did they pair it with 209? Or did 209's tender get scrapped? And, I mean, it makes you wonder. I know they've done that with a lot of early locomotives that were donated back then, where they would swap out tenders. Like, say, they've thought, oh, this tender wouldn't look good with the engine, so let's get one that would be more fitting. So let's say they take that tender off and get one that would fit, that would make it the locomotive more, I guess you could say, interesting. It's kind of like 4501, where they basically replaced its tender later on in its excursion career. Kind of like that. Wait a minute, what do you mean? 2/3 of the class survived. What do you mean, number 1? Rebuilt into Tally Lynn Railway, number 7. What happened to that one? Tally Lynn, I've never heard of that. Tally Lynn Railway? So basically, 201 made it later. survived slightly longer and was. Are you basically telling me 201 lasted a bit longer and was scrapped? Like, I'm confused, man. What was I going to name this? I think battery. I don't know. I mean, that's RPM. Power level. I really don't know what else to name this. I think maybe I could put an indicator light there. Maybe a warning for low battery or something. Let me see. My phone's about to die. Wonderful. Hold on, y'all. I've got to pause the stream. I'm going to do more work off camera, and I'm going to pause the stream so my phone can charge up. It's dying quickly. I know what it looks like. I've seen it. Look, I'm probably going to end the stream here. I'm sorry it's short, but my phone's dying, and it is not wanting to charge. So I will, I guess I'll see y'all later.